Okay, so All For One said no, he too messed up even for me. I'll pass. Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka Geek XX Chic, and we are back with another reaction to My Hero Academia. We are now on to the episode that is called Two Flash Fires. So in the last episode, we had the battles of all the divided groups continuing to rage, but we focused on the one with Midoriya and the vampire chick Toga, and yeah, we got a little bit of background on her and why she's so messed up. And in the end, my boy Midoriya had to go because that's not the battle he was supposed to be at. He needs to get back to the one with Shigaraki, and basically the girls, what's their name? Oh gosh, names are just slipped out of my head. I'm sorry, it's been a long day, guys. But anyways, the girls said, don't worry about it. We got this. We're going to figure her out. So Midoriya is on his way back to Shigaraki, but it's going to take a minute. And then we ended the episode going back to where Todoroki and Toya and folks who were all part of Endeavor's team are all supposed to be taking him on. And basically we ended with Toya saying, listen, this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down. Yes, he's going to give us his side of what went down all those years ago. So yeah, I'm interested in seeing what's going to go down there and whether or not the brothers can get it together. See if Todoroki's actually able to get through to his bro. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the episode. Just before I do though, a reminder that if you'd like to be in the know when I drop these episodes of this or anything else that you're watching of mine, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. We're very close to 12K. I can't wait to hit it with you guys, and I hope that you can be part of that journey with me. All right, that out of the way, let's get into the episode right now.
喋るな。
Oh, is this the doctor, the Nomu creator?
歪みをもって生まれた種を器たりうる歪みの種たち
Interesting words. Warp seeds that turn into worthy vessels. Poetical. You look terrifying, Toya, but not in a good way. Alright, flashback.
ショートにだって到達できるかどうかオールマイトにも負けないかもね来ないんだよ止まらないまだ何も
Oh my god. The fact that he did this to himself is still so horrible. Thank God for water, huh? Was he born warped, or did his environment warp him? Okay. How did his hair grow back? But I guess it wasn't that bad of a fire then. Never mind. Oh my god, how long was he out? How long was he out?
生きてるなんで
Okay, no, he was in a coma for a minute then.
どここれ俺の声かここはお家だよ
Okay, so he was in a coma.
と3年も眠ってたんだよ
Damn.
3年なんだ
I think it's so smart with them using the child's voice in his head, because that's where he still is mentally.
君はこれからここでみんなと暮らすのさ。ここで新しい家族になるのさ。
Who is this?
仕事が入って来られなかっただけかもしれない。きっとお母さんたちに謝って。
Okay.
お父さんにまた見て
He
も
did
らわ
have a
なきゃ。
little remorse at one point.
それはもう叶わないだろう
Hmm.
欠損部分を再生組織で補っている
Ah.
それでも君は生き延びた
何を言ってるのか。
That's right, he hasn't seen himself yet.
各機関の損傷
Damn.
触覚など体制感覚の鈍化君の体は弱り
Okay, so that's why he can keep hurting himself.
残念ながら失敗だ
Wow, you told this kid who went through all that he failed. Well, that you failed.
でも僕なら君の炎を元通りにできるかもしれない
Okay, so this is how we got in.
お父さんだけだ。
そんなことをしたらダメなのさ。
What's this sunny nonsense?
導くには育ちすぎていたただれすぎていた
Inflamed. No pun intended.
その父親への執着にはつけ入ることはかなわな
I
い
mean, that stuff goes deep.
王の
Vessels for the
ダビはそんなスペアの一つで
Ah, gotcha. So you augmented his body.
何もかんもオール・フォー・ワンの仕込みっつすまんねえ話か
Yeah, he's a bit of a narcissist.
わしらの見識の外に
Great. So you bred him to be a replacement body, and then you let him go, knowing that he was mentally unstable.
体は目覚めて動き始めた以上
But he did.
なぜ戻ってきたなぜ生きているわしは
Stronger stock than you thought.
戻ったのは葬式にちょうどいい場所だったからだよ。
一別が全てを物語っておる
Did it?
天差の炎だけで踏みとどまらせてきたのだ
Revenge is a hell of a drug.
化してんのにさ、期待してるもんなんてあるはずないのに。でもさ、3年ぶりの変わらぬ光景が改めて起きた。
Yep.
この家族はもう俺を過去にし
That's what you took from that? But I guess, you know, you were still recovering.
死ぬ気だったんだ。花から。
Yeah, well, from the sounds of things, things aren't doing so well for him.
青すら見放した編集教の死の炎
Okay, so All for One said, no, he too messed up even for me. I'll pass.
それが俺の生まれた証だ。
Damn, his mouth is glowing. Please be careful, Todoroki, please. Shoto, my boy, please.
見据えた景色を歪ませ
This
た
is so sad. You guys shouldn't be fighting. You should be hugging. Sharing drinks over how messed up your dad is.
不在でお前が相手ってのも冷静
My man's melting metal, guys.
すんな。俺はお前にもしっかり思うことが
How? He's a baby. He was a baby when you left.
オールマイトが好きかしようと
Oh, God.
エルスパイダー
Damn. Yeah, it's hot, of course. I think that's Endeavor's move with a little spice on it.
トヤ兄の好きなもんも知らね
No, I don't even know if Toya knows what Toya likes.
え。行きます
I'm like, I don't think you should underestimate your brother at all, bro. Yeah.
女面して
That's your baby brother.
エンデバーの息子ダビの兄弟
Bro, I didn't know you were my brother at that point.
捕ましそがよショート
How are you any better than your father, man?
しなかった誰も言ってくれねえなら俺が言ってやろうか
You're jealous, we
中途
know.
半端な人形が
Half-baked doll? It's so sad. Wow, Jesus. You okay, Shoto? That looked like it hurt. But honestly, like, there's nothing that you can say that his dad has not already told him, so.
だってばかりの半端な
Woo! It's getting frosty! Remember our mom?
すご収容されてる
Oh, is it?
しっかり俺の
Yeah, he's like, thank you. I'm glad that you thought that I was worthy of attention too.
この技は自分で発展させ
He's
た
like, you sat there copying dad?
ための技
I came up with my own stuff. Cute.
対東野兄には俺の力が適任だし
He's right.
俺もそうしたい
And he's got the emotional edge.
それぞれやれるべきことをやって
Yeah, remember we're doing this as a family now.
親父は行かれてたうちはダ
Yeah,
メだ
right? He's like, bro, we're on the same page.
驚きくんがダビと戦うなん
Oh,
て
why are we saying booties? Damn.
だからこの技はその壁を越えるためのものだ
That's so cool.
伯爵熱拳とはまた何か様相が違う
I love how Midoriya is always geeking.
継戦能
Stop
力
it!
は俺の方が上はいザク
Only he would be pissed going to take a shower.
熱い血と冷たい血が体を循環し相互に安定をもたらす
There we go. Midoriya, you inspired that.
冷たい炎みたいだね
That reflection is awesome.
あの家に俺が生まれた意味を俺自身が肯定できる
Exactly.
ように
Finally embracing both sides. That's right. I told you Midoriya inspired him.
伯爵熱拳
Phosphor. That's right. That's from your mama.
リン白人
Ooh, pale blade. I like it.
たちにぶつけろ
Exactly.
少しは
Coming him emotionally too, because that's what he needs.
同じ血を分けた兄弟ですらこうも型が違う
Damn, Did you though? You're really just different in the way that you're handling things.
レールが正道に交わることはない
Warped rails will never cross straight paths. Interesting.
出て死ねや俺たちのために
No, I don't want to die, bro. That's on you.
言ったことが全てと
Damn, whole team's down? Thanks for the backup.
欲望で作られた地過去
A past made from greed, so true.
誰も置いていかなかった
Nope.
いつも安心させてくれた
Aw.
力の凝縮だ
止めて
Let him know. Let him know, Todoroki. Show him that love will always triumph over hate. Yeah, he said cool down, bro.
無理にでも
Mm-hmm.
だから
Cool down.
止まってくれ代表が
Woo! The wake! Not the flashback. You punched him into a flashback, bro? Give it up, Dobby. You got punched into the past. Oh my god. Triggered an ice age in Japan. You kidding me? He said Mama Sai was strongest out all the time anyway. Woo! You okay, Dabs? Okay, let's take a nap. You ended there? I mean, I guess he's out for the count, but geez.
オール・フォー・ワンとの死闘を繰り広げていた
Ew!
次回エクストラズ
Extras. I don't like the sound of that. Ooh, okay, guys. That was a hell of an episode. And yeah, we got Dabby's side of the story. Finally found out what happened to him all those years, where he disappeared to. I didn't really expect it to be too deep and involved because unfortunately, with the way that unfortunately for Dobby, the way they displayed him, his mental state is really not such that I think he'd be able to give a coherent story at this point. He is very, very damaged, very broken, both physically and mentally. And so we got the abridged version, which is fine, considering that, you know, we only had one episode to kind of deal with this. I'm glad they didn't dwell too much, but now we know that, well, I mean, we kind of figured that All For One had gotten his hands on him, but a 3-year coma? That's insane. That is insane. 3 years of a coma, but also because they were clearly doing a lot of reconstruction on his body. What we saw with beside the lake when he put himself out was bad. Like, it was bad. Because I was like, how did his hair grow back and stuff? Like, typically when you burn yourself beyond 3rd degree, hair doesn't grow back. So I was like, that kid's got a full head of hair. What's going on? But now we found out that he was brought back to wherever that creepy Nomu doctor was working, and that he basically repaired, or not really repaired, I guess you could say replaced like 80% of Toya's body with regenerative tissue, as he put it. So basically it looks like he was given skin that could somewhat recover from the damage that his flames inflicted, but to a point, like there was a limit. And so anyway, as I said in the episode, I thought it was really, really smart the way that they depicted the fact that when Dobby woke up, the voice in his head was still at the age he was when he got hurt. And then, you know, his voice that was coming out of his body was one of someone who'd entered puberty. And like, that was just a really smart, like, way to show the disconnect that Dobby was dealing with. So that alone, first of all, like before he even burned out quite literally at the lake, Dobby was already on the, like, I feel like we can safely say that he'd had some form of a mental breakdown. I'm not a mental health professional, so I don't want to use the wrong terms or anything. But yeah, I think he had some forms of a breakdown, right? They definitely illustrated that last season with the tears and his obsession with his dad seeing him, lashing out at his mom, the obsession with trying to get these flames right, even though it was hurting him physically. Like, I think, as I said, we can all safely say that he was already mentally broken at that point. And then he has that moment where his dad doesn't show up and he's literally going through a panic attack. He's just all this anxiety, all this pressure that he's put on himself, and also the pressure that his father has put on him, and the fact that his dad has basically treated him like he's a disappointment, like it's his fault that he's not able to manifest his flame power the way that his dad wants him to. It literally explodes out of him. Like, his emotions take over, he loses control of his power, and he almost dies because of it. And then that's the state he's in when he goes into a coma and has no idea what's going on with him. All For One decides to use him. And when he wakes up, he's in a body that he doesn't recognize, quite literally, not just because he grew, but also because this is not even his skin. And his mentality is still stuck in that place, right? So, and then if all that wasn't bad enough, he's like, well, I need to get back to my family. If it's been 3 years, I need to go back. My family is waiting for me. They're worried. And instead of them being like explaining the fact that his family assumed that he died because of what happened, they basically say, yeah, we were trying to do some stuff with you, but it didn't work out, so you're a failure, right? This kid that's been hearing his whole life that he's not good enough, that he's a failed experiment, basically, now hears from a complete stranger that he's a botched experiment as well. So just compound injury after injury, and it very much helps us understand why Dabi is like this, why he's so broken. And again, he was already going to be there because of the horrible, horrible father that Endeavor was, but this, on top of it, the physical trauma that he went through, on top of the emotional trauma, as I said, of going through this coma and waking up in a foreign body, like that was just so many things that Dabi had to deal with that there was really no hope for him, honestly. Like he was just behind the 8 ball. Like again, maybe if he could have been found and put into some sort of facility where he could have gotten some level of mental care, he might have been able to somewhat come out of it, but that's not what happened. Like we see that after he once again heard that he was a failure, he broke out, wanted to go home, went home and realized that his family, of course, as we know, they thought he died. So they moved on 3 years, right? This wasn't like right after, this was 3 years post his death. So they'd moved back into their routines. They'd moved back into their lives again. And what was more is he saw that his dad was training Todoroki and that basically in his mind, he'd just been replaced. Right? It's right back. Todoroki's going through the training. I mean, he's kind of seen it already before, but it's like Todoroki's still being trained. But I think what really snapped for him again in that moment, yet another thing that snapped, was that his dad had not changed. His dad was still yelling, screaming, saying all these things to Todoroki that he'd said to him. So he just realized like nothing's changed. He's like, I was gone. It feels like I've been forgotten. No one's worried about me. Dad didn't even, miss a beat. And what's worse is that if I come to him now, he's just going to tell me that I'm a failure again because he's not any more compassionate than when I left. So we saw that before that, he was making up excuses like, oh, dad was busy. Like he really doesn't want to see me. But then when he saw him with Todoroki, he was like, nah, he's still the same. He's still the same jerk. He is still going to come at me for being like this. He's going to somehow blame what happened here on me. So that's what really sent him on his journey of like deciding that he needed to become so strong and so amazing and imitate and emulate his dad's moves to be not only as good as his dad's, but better, because he was going to show his dad that he was stronger and better. He was going to do better. And so he went off and trained himself. And with his new body, like we learned that apparently the new body dulled his pain senses because they knew that his flames were always going to hurt him. So that's why he's able to do it as much as he did. Because I was like, this is hurting you every time, bro. How? But anyways, we see that he continued to train himself and that he used his dad's moves as a blueprint. And that, again, his obsession with his dad became his entire life. And we discovered that through the doctor that he was actually supposed to be a spare body because we knew that All For One wants to live forever. So he's got he was trying to generate a whole, like, just armada of bodies to keep jumping into each time one of them got old or damaged. And that Toya was supposed to be one of the spares. Like I guess he wasn't the primary one, but he thought there was enough power and obviously youth in Toya's body that was a potential spare. But in the end, because A, his body was just too damaged, and B, he realized that the fire in particular was never going to be in control the way that All For One would have wanted. He ended up saying, nah, that's not going to be good enough to be my replacement. And then the third layer was the fact that the consciousness, he would have been fighting Toya's consciousness, which was so completely and utterly obsessed with his dad that All For One would have had to deal with that, and he didn't want to. So yeah, just all these things, the layers upon layers of things that were wrong with him that made him unsuitable. Well, I mean, which is actually a blessing, because thank God, could you imagine All For One in that body? Whew! He thinks that Shigaraki's bad. But anyway, so that's basically how we got to this point. And then eventually we see that Toya did make his way back and figure out what happened to him and learn more about All For One and his cause, but not because he actually cared about what was going on there, but because he wanted help in sustaining this goal of getting his dad's attention for the first time. But yeah, it was just a sad story. Obviously, we knew that from last season. Endeavor has a huge factor to play in this, but as did his mother. Like we heard Todoroki say it really well when he was talking about the difference between like how he had to choose the path he wanted to take, about how his family was built on greed for power, right? Not, I would say his mom isn't really as guilty of that, but of course we learned from last season she was too passive in what was going on with her children. She could have and should have stood up more to Endeavor to stop him from abusing the kids the way he did. She did, but yeah, he did. But, he did eventually cognitively figure out that he was never going to be able to manifest flames the way that he believed his dad wanted for him and survive it. And so all of this, everything he's been doing, because we found out that apparently his body was supposed to give out 6 months after he left, but his pure vengeance quest has been holding him together. Like literally sheer will to live to get back at his dad is what's holding this kid together, along with literal staples and tape. That says a lot about the power of revenge, right? All of this is really because love is what's holding him together. And a really distracted, warped way, but love is what's holding him together. So anyway, thankfully, that's what Todoroki was able to kind of get through to him and talk to him about, because we saw that Dabi was just, again, showing off, because he's like, we heard Todoroki say, you never planned on leaving this fight alive. I can see that now, but I'm not going to let you go out that way. Him and Todoroki exchange words, as I said in the episode, frustrating that he didn't actually look at Todoroki as a fellow victim, instead looked at him as a object of jealousy. But again, we understand that because that was, again, thanks to his dad, making it sound like Todoroki was the kid that got right while the rest of them were all failures. So he created that animosity. Very cool to see Todoroki's actual power and effect. That was really cool. I love the X symbol and I love his explanation of it. And we see that in the end, he literally had his brother chill out. He came and literally froze half damn Tokyo in the process, but he managed to put out his brother's flame at long last. And I think his brother is still alive. So despite his kamikaze mission, thankfully that didn't come across. But yeah, maybe now that he's finally chilled out, they can have a chat, because that's really what he wants. Deep down, all he really wants is a really good chat with his father, some acknowledgement from his dad. I don't know if it'll be enough to fix everything, but I think it'll be good to get him on the path to healing. But yeah, good episode. I think that was really cool to see what Todoroki has been working on and how much he's grown. And as I said, the Midoriya effect in effect. So at least one of these battles is finally tapped out. Thank goodness, because we saw the whole team that was supposed to back up Todoroki was out. They all passed out halfway through. So thank God Todoroki was able to do it. But I think he's tapped out for now. That took a lot out of him. So phew, one of the 4 fights is now down. We still have what's going on with All For One and the adults, and we haven't seen anything on that battle thus far. So apparently that is next episode, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to do with that, because Endeavor is definitely a force to be reckoned with, but we saw what was going on with All For One, so I think it's going to be an interesting battle to see the least, especially considering that Endeavor only really has one trick, and All For One knows what that trick is. So we're going to have to see, but yeah, I enjoyed this episode a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed watching along with me. If you did, please show some love, and I will see you in the next one.